Welcome back to the Charismatic Voice. I have heard of Green Day, but I'm not familiar at all with their sound. I just have always thought that the band's name was a little bit weird. Like, why is it a green day? Why not a blue day or a tan day or a yellow day or a seafoam green day? I don't know where their name came from, and I don't know what they're going to sound like. But I do know that the name of this song, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, is extremely evocative and intriguing. So let's get to it. Oh, they have a car named after them, or they were named after a car? This is the Boulevard, huh? That scritch sound is cool.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's home to me and I walk alone. I walk this empty street on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, where the city sleeps and I'm the only one and I walk alone.
Huh.
I walk alone.
Interesting. Also, I'm sorry I have the captions apparently turned on. Let's turn those off, y'all. His voice is clear enough. We don't need those captions. I'm a little surprised. The voice actually has a directness to it. It does remind me a little bit of punk, but it also has like a feeling of just don't care, while at the same time always being present enough to care. It's like it already has contradictions just within the vocal technique. It's very, very interesting and intriguing once again. The sounds at the beginning really got me too. I think that scritch ended up evolving into more guitar. Let's go back. What's that referencing? Tumbleweeds. Cars broken down? Green Day broke down. Huh. So that I think is some guitar in there that's got a special effect on it. I think that's interesting because that's providing the essential percussive element right now. We don't have any guitar. We don't have any drum set that's entered, and instead, it's all our timing is just set up by the scritch. It's almost like reminiscent of the scratches of records.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes.
Is that scratch from guitar? It feels like it's a special effect from a guitar, but then you also have a much sweeter sound of guitar that's entered later. I wonder if maybe what we have is instead some sort of synthesizer that resembles some distortion on guitar. I don't know what that sound is from. It's a cool sound. We'll leave it at that.
I walk a lonely road, the only one that I have ever known. Don't know where it goes, but it's home to me and I walk alone. I walk this empty street on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, where the city sleeps and I'm the only one and I walk alone.
His vocal delivery is so direct and it doesn't have long lines at all. Instead, it's always present, but it's not doing any sort of fussy phrasing. or like a beautiful, like I'm going to have some ballad delivered to you. Instead, it's just delivering the words, and they're strung so closely together. It doesn't feel like he's lacking in line, but he's not creating a crescendo and a decrescendo or ending a note with some sort of delicious, savory consonant or nice held out vowel. It's just so direct and almost nonchalant.
I'm the only one and I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk up. My shadow's only one that walks beside me. My shallow heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone up there will find me. Till then I walk alone.
Oh, I like that shift. Ooh, I liked that harmonic shift there a lot. That was interesting. It continues where it's just, gosh, I interviewed another singer a while back who said one of the main things he thinks about while singing is just being direct. Sometimes singers can get really caught up in this sort of inner finesse and all the different shapes we can make and this technique or that technique. I've been the victim of this for most of my life. And we can be so obsessed with how we're marinating the sound and lose track of just delivering it to the audience. Just straight up, here it is. Billie Joe feels like he's not messing around. And at the same time, it doesn't feel like he's screaming his face off. It feels like there's just this almost factual bit about the doldrums of life that he's unashamedly communicating. Let's go back though and catch, there was a really cool harmonic shift.
I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk up. My shadow's only one that walks beside me. My shallow heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone up there will find me. Till then I walk alone.
Cool. Really interesting. Has a very colorful ending that almost feels like it's got a little of a cliffhanger to what I think was the chorus. I'm trying to wrap my brain around this and try to consider what is the emotional impact of this right now? What's happening? So I think I'd read that this came out in 2004, if I'm correct. American Idiot was the album it's on, and this A Boulevard of Broken Dreams is on this album. So first song I'm hearing from Green Day. They've been around. They were doing this for another decade ahead of when I'm actually hearing this song. So they've been around for a decade making music, and then this drops. We have, of course, within the US, they're from California. One of the big things during this time was this reaction to 9/11, and there's so much political unrest that's happening. There's a lot of disillusionment that's happening as well. I think maybe that's capturing this seems to be capturing that cultural struggle with the disillusionment, the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and this I walk alone idea of maybe this isolation. We're also starting to expand more with the internet. Gosh, help me out here. Give me some more cultural context, because this feels like it hits somehow in like a younger version of Elizabeth, right? I think for people that were alive during the 9/11 attacks, it's really hard to forget that and how things shifted around then. So this feels like it's going back to younger Elizabeth and really drawing me back into what that time was like. I'd love to hear from y'all, though, in the live chat, in the live premiere if you're there, or in the comments down below too. What was happening around this time? How did this how did this change that cultural landscape? Because it feels like it's landing already.
Heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone up there will find me. Till then I walk alone. I'm walking down the line that divides me somewhere in my mind, on the borderline of the edge and where I walk alone. Read between the lines, what's fucked up and everything's alright. Check my vital signs and know I'm still alive and I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk alone.
Wow. I like the lyrics of this a lot. Makes me feel really pensive and introspective. And it makes me feel alone, even though at this point in my life, I actually don't feel so lonely. But man, earlier in life, there was a lot of life that I felt really lonely, even when in big crowds or just having the time of my life with friends, I still felt really alone and isolated a lot of times. I think that that's a common feeling that this song is just communicating extremely well. I liked the verse or the first stanza here, this I'm walking down the line that divides me somewhere in my mind. I think that that's really interesting because often when we feel alone and have a lot of time to think by ourselves, sometimes it feels like there's like a point in your brain of sanity. And if you think too much about a thing, you kind of cross over some. There's these struggles. I totally get that idea of having a line that's in your brain. Jeez, these lyrics, really, really insightful. And I think they're effective partly because of how he's delivering them vocally with, it's like the absence of sentimentality.
Between the lines, what's fucked.
That's the second one. I want to go back to the first one. That's pretty.
I'm walking down the line that divides me somewhere in my mind, on the borderline of the edge and where I walk alone.
So he's got this way of almost like stamping on each note. It's the opposite of what we would want to do if we were finessing the song. Bum 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 instead of dee dee and having this like beautiful legato line that's all connected and gooey. Instead, we're getting these stamps with each pitch. And that has, I think, that drudgery put in. I'm actually curious if he does the same thing on other songs or if that's like the plodding along of the Boulevard of the Broken Dreams. I don't know. I wish I did know at this point. You guys can tell me, is that typical of his regular style or is that something that he's brought specifically to this song to make that plodding kind of sensation? It definitely, it almost feels like he's coming from a place of numbness, of caring so much that he doesn't care anymore.
Between the lines, what's fucked up and everything's alright. Check my vital signs and know I'm still alive and I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk up like shadows, only one that walks beside me. My shallow heart's the only thing that's beating.
fascinating to end on that harmony and have the space clear out before resolving it. That is the most intriguing part of the song to me, is every time we're ending up there at the end of the chorus. It's like I'm breathing with anticipation, wondering like, oh, I feel like it's going to resolve. I heard it resolve once before, but it's a pivotal moment in this song. The other thing that is just shocking to me is the lyrics combined with the vocal delivery. This is not a very big vocal range at all. It is very clear with the lyrics, though. I'm impressed. We're not getting any futzing around, I should say, with the words. It's just very, very clear. It feels like it's easy to sing along to once you would know the words. Feels easy to relate to, partly because you don't have to have a big range to sing this song. I'm going to go back to the beginning of that chorus, maybe. Yeah. So even when he comes down from shadows, it's very angular again, very, very stampy. It's like chunks of notes rather than a long phrase. But despite this, he actually has a really good through line of the breath, which often is used to create that kind of phrase. It's almost like he's rebelled against the traditional idea of phrasing here. And so he's stamping out each note. On shadows, he even stamps them out, even though it's within the same word. He's switching pitches. So he's like, nah, I'm going to be angular instead of fluid.
I walk alone, I walk up like shadows. Only one that walks beside me. My shallow heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone up there will find me. Till then I walk alone.
I'm interested in why they shifted the reverb in this point. That feels suddenly to me a little bit more sentimental because they've given it more reverb, kind of smooths things out a little bit extra. It feels, like it's more thoughtful essentially. And it's just with a little shift of production. It's also a little smoother between the notes.
I walk alone, I walk alone. I walk this empty street.
So that section to me felt like the emotions were really being let loose, almost like the instrumentalists were allowed to be more expressive. It feels like there was just destruction in some parts. It had some singy lines in other parts as well. It felt like the real emotions here are happening in the instruments, and that the voice is sort of a mask, which really masks like that tell us a lot. But it's like the voice feels more like hardened emotions.
I walk this empty street on the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, where the city sleeps and I'm the only one. And I walk up.
Oh, cool re-entry.
Only one that walks beside me. My shallow heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone up there will find me. Till then I walk alone.
I love that they held that unresolved harmony. Uh, I love that they held that out there and extended it extra. It built a lot of extra tension. I'm also fascinated by the camera being shut out by a hand, almost like this person in this view here wants to be left alone, even though we have this moment that sometimes I wish someone out there will find me, but it's just sometimes. When I first heard that line, I thought it was more of a confession that they're always wishing for that. But when I saw that hand, it's sounds like there's more of a confession that sometimes they just really want to stay alone. Sometimes it can feel safe to be alone. This is such a good release moment. Ooh. Especially with that bass line. That is dissonant. Ooh, and no resolution. This ending is very unapologetic. It is dissonant. It's taking a lot of the pitches that would normally fall within the harmony and picking one that's half step away. So that makes it even more dissonant. And it didn't resolve at the end. It also didn't fade out. I think this song could easily have been somebody walking away and fading out at the end. Instead, it had that same sort of hardened emotion feeling at the end that was just like, this is the way it is. Yeah, it feels really disillusioned. Gosh, what a fascinating song that I think has so much cultural significance. I want to look some more up about this. Tell me more about it in the comments, please. And if you want to see some more analysis of songs that I feel have impressive cultural impact, check out this playlist over here. May you fall more in love with music every day.